Oh hey, welcome to a new video. I have included the entire project of this floor in one video. So you're going to see this floor from start to finish. Obviously, it's an older white oak hardwood floor that desperately needed to be refinished. And so here you see me sanding off all that old stain and finish with rough grit paper. You can see this floor had a lot of peeling. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but in between the boards and everything, the old finish was literally peeling and delaminating off there. The wood itself didn't seem to be in that bad a shape, and the stain itself, but I don't know what they used to finish this with, but it was definitely peeling in lots of places. So I'm trying to pull the floor at a slight angle. Some people get on me about not pulling it at enough of an angle. I cross about 3 boards or so when I pass, but mostly I like to pull it straight. So I'm going over the entire floor with 40 grit here. It's not getting everything out of the grain of the wood. As you can see, there's still some black dark spots in the grain of the wood and some low spots, that sort of thing. I'll catch it on the next pass. This is kind of just to get off as much of that old finish and stain as I can possibly get off on the first pass. Here you see me using the edger. Same thing. We have removed the baseboards on this project, and we will put them back on the final day. But using 40 grit paper on the edger, we are edging off all of that old finish, getting it all off there, getting this wood cleaned up. We are going to be staining on this project. We're trying to match it to some existing floors that they had done at a later time. The color that we decided... Wait a second here. Obviously, my wife did not look at my butt that morning. My pocket is hanging out of my shorts. That's embarrassing. I'll have to get on her about that. Just kidding. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. We are staining this floor to try and match it to a room. We're going to be doing some special walnut stain. So going over this whole floor with special walnut. Here you see me going over it for the second time. The wood is obviously getting a lot cleaner on this pass. We're kind of stair-stepping our way up as far as our grits and our paper go. So getting it cleaner and cleaner with each pass. So once that was done, and once I edged, which I didn't get any clips of me fine edging, but I did go, you'll just have to trust me. I went around all the edges and fine edged them as well. And then it's time to check it with a light. So I'm random orbiting. I'm using 80 grit on the random orbit with a light. It shows off any scratches that either I left while edging or anything that needs to get out. Went around and pulled all the corners, which you see me doing here. We hand scrape them and then hand sand them. I kind of did this in real time to show you how I scrape corners. Obviously, I did this on every corner in the entire house, as well as around all the door jambs, that sort of thing. So went around, again, random orbiting all of the edges. I always do this on every stain job. I don't do it normally when I'm doing a natural refinish, but for any stain, I don't want to leave any swirls around the edges, so I make sure to check it with a light and go around all of the edges. Once that's done, it's time to buff. So you see me doing that here. Just running back and forth with the buffer. We have a 100 grit screen on the buffer, and we just want to get a nice dust up here. It blends the different ways, all the different machine sand blends it all together. Once that's vacuumed up and cleaned up, we water pop this floor. I understand there are other ways to water pop. Everyone's got kind of their own way of doing it, it seems like. This is the way that I do it. Yeah, it hurts my knees and my back, okay? So once that dried, we started staining. So I've been buffing my stain in. This is the special walnut color. And kind of pour myself a puddle. I always will cut in around the edges and pour myself a puddle and go back and clean up the corners, that sort of thing, where the buffer can't get to very well. But other than that, we're kind of just massaging it into the wood. So kind of going back and forth, making sure everything gets nice and even. I really like how buffing stain turns out. I used to do everything by hand, where you kind of wipe on a swath of stain, wait a few minutes, and come back and wipe it. which that works, and it can work good, but I would have inconsistencies in my stain then, whether it's wiping like rag marks, or sometimes your sweat would drip in it, and just weird stuff can happen doing it by hand. I feel like I have much better results when I buff in my stain, so I've become a big fan of doing it this way. So you see me kind of pour a puddle. I've been just kind of running the pad into the puddle and then spreading it that way now. It seems to work pretty good, so pretty happy with that. This floor, I will tell you, was very thirsty. So I went over everything with one pass on the stain, and I didn't get any clips of it just because it's kind of monotonous, but I ended up going over it again with the stain. So we did 2 passes with the special walnut stain. It just seemed to suck it in, and it looked, I don't know what the right terminology is on that. I guess blotchy or modelly a little bit. It looks super nice in these pictures, but the following day it just looked like it could use more. So I did. So we actually did stain this one twice. But here it is on the final day. You can see it's a little bit darker and richer because of that second pass of stain. And so now we are using our finishes. We're going to put 3 coats on this floor. The first 2 coats are Bona Mega 1. This floor is going to be going with a satin finish. So Bona Mega 1 on the first 2 coats. The final coat that we're applying is Bona Traffic HD. So I do like to use Bona when I'm going over stains. I don't know, I've had nothing but good results with it. So here's the first coat you see going on here. This was early this morning. We let that dry for 2 hours and then came back and we coated it a second time. Waited for that for another 2 hours. Came back and then we put on the baseboards, which I don't have any clips of me installing the baseboards, but you'll definitely be able to see it in the clips once the baseboards are on and installed back in place. So here's the second coat starting to go on. I buffed in between the second and third coats on this project. So kind of building up a nice layer there so we have lots of room to buff on it. So I don't have to worry about dropping through to my stain or anything like that. So here we are, and now we're going to start buffing. It's not a very long clip. It's just I have some 200 grit sanding tape on a maroon pad on my buffer, and we're just getting it to dust up just a little bit. Here I am changing out my sanding tape, and then continue to sand. Got that all cleaned up. You see the baseboards are back on, and it is time to put on the final coat. So like I mentioned, this is Bona Traffic HD. This is a satin finish, and we are coating our way out on the final coat of this project. So very happy to get this one done. Very happy with the results. I think this one turned out absolutely beautiful. So customer was super stoked with it, and I was very happy to get it done, and we are going to be on to the next one. I think I'm going to start doing my videos this way. It means I'm not posting quite as often, but I think it's better to be able to see the whole project. If you're interested in it, you get to see the whole project, start to finish, what it looks like. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to put a couple clips of kind of what it looked like coated. I didn't get to see it totally dry, but that's that project. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!